Hello.
Hi Carlo, how are you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good, thank you.
Good. Good. You sorted out your thing in the bank.
Yes, I have, thank you very much.
Okay, that's good. I'm glad. That's awesome. Mm,
So, how's your day
that's
so
good.
far?
Good. Not too bad. It's nice weather here. It's not too bad. It's nice and sunny, clear skies. But I believe they predicted some rain or a cold front to come, so we'll see how it goes.
Okay. Um, okay, so
Yeah.
please just give me your birth date again and your birth time.
Okay. So it was May 3rd, 1984, and it's 6 o'clock in the evening.
Okay, that's fine. And then that's fine for now. Okay, so I your let sure. Now I just want to check your question that you asked me. When what do you remember when it was? Oh yes, okay. So it was on the 10th of April,
Mm,
2022,
yeah.
and then it was at what's the time there?
Oh, I can't remember the time,
Don't
but it was
worry, it's
probably
on
the
the
afternoon.
WhatsApp. It's 16:11. Okay,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
11
yeah.
minutes past 4. I just want to draw up a horary chart for the question in the moment
Yes.
of time.
Mm,
So that is
yeah.
so 10 April 2022, and that was 11 minutes past 4 in the
Four.
afternoon. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So a horary question, all that it's some horary actually just simply means question. So it actually,
Mm-hmm.
so if you say a horary question, it actually means question, which is, but most people don't understand what a horary question is. So I just wanted to explain to you. So a
Right.
horary question
Okay.
is a moment in time where you ask a specific question that you would like to know the answer about. And what we
Right.
do is we basically we capture a moment in time in the cosmos to see what is happening with the planets at that particular moment in time. And then that
Okay.
will give us an answer to your question that should be accurate.
Okay. Cool.
So, just so that you know what it's about. And then,
Okay.
um, so the question that you sent me via WhatsApp is, tell me if there is a partner for me in the near future. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Is that correct? Was that your question?
Correct. Correct. Yes. Yes.
Okay. So, when I look at the horary question, there's a few indicators that I just want to quickly have a look at. So, firstly, let me just check what the seventh house. Okay, so that's fine. So, firstly, we look at the first house. Now, the first house, unfortunately, this is via WhatsApp call, so I can't
Mm.
show you the screen and what I'm looking at so that I could show you. But
No worries.
for the
Sure.
purpose, sorry.
No, that's no fine. No worries.
Yeah. So for the purpose of the YouTube channel, I will then, when I start compiling the video, I will show them exactly what it is that is on my screen so that they can
Perfect.
see what it is that I'm talking about.
Right.
Is that okay with you?
Yes, that's perfect.
Okay. So the first house ruler, which is signifies you in this chart, which is Pisces. So I'm not saying you are a Pisces. This is the horary chart that I'm looking at. So the question in moment of time that you asked the question.
Uh
Okay.
huh.
So the rising sign is indicated as the party asking the question, which is you. It is signified by the ruler Jupiter. Jupiter is the planet that rules Pisces. and it is situated in the first house in Pisces. So that is a very good sign to start off the question with. So it means
Okay.
that there's already a yes from the word go and to your question, in other words. So will you find a partner in the near future? The answer to the question is yes. Okay, so,
Okay.
but I'm going to delineate the entire chart so that we can make sure that we have multiple yeses and not just one yes. Or that we have,
Okay.
we might even have a few no's and a few yeses or whatever, but we'll see how it goes.
Okay. Great.
So, um, Jupiter is the planet of abundance and luck and fortune. So
Okay.
Jupiter is in the first house in Pisces in its own sign. So as I said, that is yes, and it's kind of giving its blessing to say that yes, there is a good partner for you in the future. Okay, so
Okay.
then there is, however, a small little thing that I want to make you aware about, which is that it is conjunct Neptune. Now, the thing is that in the ancient texts, we never used to, they never used to use the outer planets. Now, Neptune is part of the outer planets. It's not considered as the primary planet, but for those modern astrologers that do use Neptune, I will include the outer planets in this session, but just so that they and you know that Neptune and the other planets, including Uranus and Pluto, were never traditionally used in any astrology horary question. So,
Okay.
so I will interpret it from that point of view for their sake, but I will just make you aware of what it is that I'm seeing. So, Neptune is a
Right.
planet that can sometimes be a little bit of smoke and mirrors and somewhat delusional. So it could also mean that the person that you will meet in the near future might pretend to be something that they're not. It could also be that they put up a facade to impress you, and then maybe after a while you see their true colors. So that is maybe just
Okay.
something to take a small note of so that you don't go into it wearing rose-colored glasses just because I've now said, oh, we have this wonderful yes in the beginning of the chart already. Okay? Yes?
No, right.
Okay. So,
No, I understood that. That's a good one to make note of. Yeah.
okay. So it's just something to keep at the back of your mind. I do, however, want to say
Yeah.
that Neptune is in its own sign. Um, and it is conjunct Jupiter. So therefore, anything that is represented by Jupiter and that is represented by Neptune will be bona fide. Now, bona fide simply means it will become more beneficial. So will become more positive. So whatever these two planets mean, the chances of it being the most positive things that are represented by these planets is very good. So, in other words,
Okay.
the chances are that the person that you might meet is actually someone who might be very spiritual, because Neptune is also a very spiritual planet. So it could also be
Okay.
that they have incredible depth of soul, so they might have a lot of wisdom because Jupiter also rules wisdom. So there's quite a few positive traits. They might be very artistic because Neptune is very artistic, but because it's in Pisces, it kind of gets amplified. So they might have some creative field that they work in or something like that.
Okay.
Okay. So they
Okay.
might
Cool.
also be very intuitive. Sorry, say that again.
No, that's cool. That's good to
Okay.
know. Yeah.
Okay. So would you say
It's good
those
to
are,
know. Yes.
yeah, so would you say those are things that would be at least good for you? Is it appealing personality types and traits?
Yeah. No, it is
Okay.
actually. Yeah,
Okay.
I'm very intuitive and spiritual as well. Actually.
Okay.
So yeah.
Yeah, so that would be, so then that's a good start. Okay, so then we also have the sun in Aries. Now, what that means is the sun is exalted in Aries. So this is a secondary good confirmation for us, because the sun in Aries exalted means that the planet is very happy where it is, and it's going to live out its best qualities. So, and it is like a honorary guest in the house where it is. So it's like as if it is like an ambassador coming to your house and you are a diplomat. So it's like an honorary guest or the queen coming to visit your house.
Okay.
So it's like, so he is exalted and he is in a very happy position where he is being treated well and he is living out his best qualities. Okay. Then it is in the second house. So it could be that this person that you might meet in the near future will be someone who is either financially well off, or they might be wealthy, or it could be even that the two of you together will make for a good combination to make a lot of money with together.
Okay.
So then the Mercury is the planet that is conjunct the Sun. Now, this is not too great a placement for Mercury, because what it does is Mercury is the planet of communication. And because it's conjunct the sun, it means that it's under the sun's beams, which means that there might be some struggles with communication at times. So it could be that when you communicate with one another, you might not just need to be careful of what you say, because remember, it's also in the sign of Aries, and Aries can be somewhat aggressive and fiery and tempered. So it could be that, so just be careful that you don't have screaming matches with one another, you know?
Okay. True.
Does
Understood.
okay, yeah. So just keep that in mind, that you don't have these headbutting sessions where both parties want to be right, because from the birth date that you gave me, you are also a Taurus. So, and as you know, what is a Taurus? A Taurus likes to butt heads. Like
Yeah.
a physical bull likes to butt heads. That's what they do. That's how they defend their territory and whatever.
That's
So
why I was laughing. Yes.
yeah.
That's
So
why I was laughing.
so and then obviously an Aries is the ram, and they do the exact same thing. So they also butt heads when they defend their
So,
territory, or when they compete for mating or whatever.
yeah. Yeah.
So when you put an Aries and a bull, together, and they both want to butt heads, it's just something to keep in mind, to be very
Yeah.
like
Open to or careful about.
yeah, and just
Mindful
maybe
about.
take a second, count to 100, and before you say something.
Yes. Yes. I agree.
Good. Okay, and then we now Uranus is, I see, also in the second house. Now Uranus represents change, and it represents things we that might become unexpected. Now, in the second house is ruled by income. So it might mean that either the two of you combined, or this person, it could mean that uh, that at times the income may fluctuate. So it might mean that at times that there is a a fluctuation in either both of your incomes or your income combined, or that there might be some changes in income during the period of the relationship. So,
Okay.
so just keep that in mind, that what I'm trying to say is that keep it in mind, so that when you do um, enter into this relationship and you start seeing that there is money as represented earlier by the Sun and by Mercury being in the second house, that you don't go and now, book a travel to Switzerland and go and
Right.
spend
Yeah.
all the money, like,
No.
because you've had this
Spend it all.
windfall of money.
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
Say that
Okay.
again?
So not to spend it all at once, to
Yeah.
be wise with it and to be careful with it. Yes.
Exactly. So maybe just agree to put maybe 50% of your income away if that's possible, or 30% of your income away, so that you, for a rainy
Yes.
day, and also for when the income does fluctuate and it maybe goes down a bit or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
So just want to say I'm not a financial advisor, so I'm purely interpreting what I see in the chart. So I'm not
Right.
telling you what to do with your finances. It's just what I see is what I can advise you on. And then so this is something that is interesting. So the next planet, or the North Node, is not a planet, but it is interpreted as a planet. Now, the North Node usually in a chart represents your soul and your life purpose. Now, in the case here, we see the North Node is in the third house. Now, what that tells me is that you could potentially meet this person in your environment. So it could be your neighborhood. So it could be somewhat close to where you maybe live. Or it could be that this person is visiting your neighborhood and that's how you end up meeting them. Or it might mean that they could have been born in your neighborhood and maybe moved away, and that they're now visiting friends or family or someone, and then you by accident bump into them or meet them.
Mm-hmm.
It could also be, I don't know, do you have siblings?
I have two brothers, yes.
Okay, so it could also...
Two brothers.
Okay, so, and I know this is a personal question, and I didn't even think about this, but are you straight, or are you gay, or...
Gay.
Okay, so the reason why I asked that is, does your family know that you're gay?
Yes.
Okay, so the reason why I asked that is because it could be that you are also introduced to this person through a sibling.
Okay.
So
Interesting.
that's why I asked the question in that way, because I just wanted to, because if I made the assumption, let's say for example, I made the assumption that you're straight and you're not straight, and then I say that your family will introduce you to the person, but they don't even know that you are gay, then it could backfire. Do you understand? So that's why I needed to kind of clarify first what is the terms of the relationship between you and them.
Okay.
Yeah. So then we move on to... I just want to check something. Just give me a second.
Sure.
Okay, there isn't really much to say about the fourth house. The fourth house being your home, your roots, your family, your parents, and so forth. Because this chart isn't really represented, the question isn't about your family. It's about...
Correct.
So I just wanted to check whether it would in some way affect your family. Are your parents still alive?
Yes, both are, yes. They live with me actually.
Okay. Yeah, so Um, so the fourth house is ruled by Gemini, and Gemini's ruler is Mercury. Mercury is situated in the second house of income. So now, if there might be something, it might be that, remember I said that Mercury isn't too great a position because he's under the beams of the sun. So he is in Aries. Now Aries isn't a sign of detriment or anything for him, so he is what we call peregrine. And peregrine just means that he's not in a bad place and he's not in a good place. So he's kind of neutral. Um,
Yes.
so it might be that your parents are semi-neutral towards the relationship. So they might be like, okay, well, like whatever floats your boat, that's fine with us. But it could also be that there might be some friction between them and this person. And the reason why I say that is, once again, we go back to Mercury is situated in Aries, and Aries is the sign which is the ram, so it might cause some
Yes.
head-butting
Right.
between them and your future partner. And
Okay.
then the other thing is, because it's under the sunbeams, it means that it is in what we call in some debility. It's not by sign, it's not in debility, but because it's under the sunbeams, it is in debility. Its strength is removed, and it might not be as beneficial as one would hope. So it just could mean that at times there could be some friction between your partner and your parents. So
Okay.
maybe from the word go, maybe just be aware of that there could be this potential friction, and maybe um, I don't know, maybe have a discussion. I don't want to say like preempt it, but like maybe have a discussion once you see that you're serious about this person and that maybe they want
Yes.
to move in with you, because then the boundaries of the relationship become quite confined. And I don't know, do your parents live inside the house, or do they have like a granny flat that's
No,
outside?
no, inside, yeah.
Yeah, so that might be somewhat problematic, because then you're going to be like in each other's space the whole time.
Yes.
Where if they had like a granny flat at the back of the property, then it would give you and them and you and your partner some space between each other, so that it doesn't
Right.
cause too much friction. So I would definitely, I want to say, almost preempt the discussion, in the sense that um, you have the discussion with your partner, and that you maybe have it with your parents, maybe separately, and just say
Yes.
to them, look,
Exactly.
like, I really like this person, and I really want to try and see if I can make this work, because I am um, approaching the later years of my life where I might not have many more opportunities to find happiness.
Right. Correct.
So that they understand that this is something that's important to you, and that you don't um, that they don't jeopardize the situation for you, and that they kind of respect the boundaries that need to be implemented. So,
Yes.
and
I
then maybe
agree.
just make it clear to them that you're not pushing them aside. That's not the situation at all.
No. No.
But that they just not make it difficult for this person to be part of your life.
Correct. Yes, I agree.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, and then another thing is, then you obviously have the same discussion with your future partner, and you say something like, you know what, my parents are in my immediate environment. They are part of my life, and I do want to keep them close to me, because I don't know how many years I still have left with them. And, I would
Yes. Exactly.
appreciate it if you could make it work between you and them to have a balanced relationship where it's harmonious and peaceful and loving and.
Correct. Yes, I agree. Yeah.
Okay. So it's just something to keep in mind, because like, I might not, if I didn't mention it, then they might all get off on the wrong foot within the first month of living with one another or something like that, and then you could have been forewarned because then you are forearmed. But if you're not forewarned, then
Yeah,
you can't prepare. So it might be nothing. Do you understand? It might be that I'm warning you for
correct.
no reason. But I think if anybody is realistic in any sense, it is almost impossible to have any type of relationship without there ever going to be any friction at all.
Exactly, and especially if you're going to live so close together as well, it's important.
Yeah, exactly. So
They put my,
so the chances of there not ever being friction is very slim because we
yeah,
all
it's
have
normal.
our opinions and our personalities, and we need to make
Yeah,
space for one another within that framework.
yeah, exactly. I agree.
Okay, cool. So then, the fourth house is also ruled by Mercury, as I mentioned before. Now, Mercury is also a very swift sign, it's a fast moving planet, and it could also mean that somehow, some way, that with this partner, you might end up moving. So, I don't know if that is something that you would be open to, but it could be because Mercury is the sign of movement. It could be, and it is in the sign of, and the fourth house is ruled by Gemini, which is also a sign of movement, and it rules short travel. So it means that you could move to another province or to another city, or that you could just move to another
Yeah.
house, or because it doesn't show international move, it just shows local.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
so, so maybe just something to keep in mind that if you are open to it, that it might be that this person for their work, that they might have to move or whatever.
Right. That
Okay.
sounds good. Yeah.
I just want to check something. Just give me a second.
Mm.
Okay, so if we use a system called, it's called derived houses. It's a bit of a complex topic and it's a complex thing, but I'll try and explain it in layman's terms so that you can understand it. So, as you've now realized that each of the houses are represented by certain planets, and each of these houses rule certain topics in one's life. So, like the first house I said is your identity, the second house is your income, the third house is your siblings and your neighborhood, fourth house is your parents and your home and whatever.
Yeah.
So, if we use the system derived houses, what we do is we look at, so the fourth house is in this case Gemini, and the ruler of Gemini is Mercury. And if we check if you might move overseas, then what we will do is we will look at where the ninth house or the 10th house is situated, because ninth house rules international travel and the 10th house rules career. So if for example, in this case, we want to check if your partner might have to move overseas for work, then we see that Jupiter is in the 10th house in Pisces. So there could be a possibility that this movement might even be overseas at a later stage. So maybe just be open to that. It's
Yeah.
not a definite because the chart, because this, remember, the Horary question is about will you meet this person. So this question is about a partner. So that's why we look at the the fourth house and then the 10th house from the fourth. just to see.
Okay.
So just to see how it will impact the home environment that we're looking at.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
this person's career is also represented by Scorpio. No, let me just have a look. Sorry. So no, sorry. The person's career is also represented by Jupiter, which we said is already in the first. But the reason why we say the 10th is his career is because it's Sagittarius, and Sagittarius's ruler is Jupiter, and Jupiter's in the first. So it could also show that he might have to travel overseas for work.
Okay.
Okay. So
Interesting.
okay, so that is so he might even be like a diplomat or an ambassador, because those people are often asked to go live in another country for a few years. So it might be that you only that you keep your house here, but that you might have to move abroad, maybe just for a 3-year period or a 4-year period. And obviously,
Right.
when you are a diplomat or an ambassador, if you guys do decide to get married, you can take your parents with, because that's usually how it works with diplomats, is they, especially if you can prove that they've lived with
Correct.
you and that they're part of your household, then you can usually take them with for that extended period of time. Okay. So then we move on to the 5th house. So now we have another confirmation of a yes, which is very good to see and to hear, because the moon is situated in the 5th house, and the 5th house is ruled by Cancer. So she is within her own sign. So she is like the queen of her own castle. So she is at home. She's very happy where she is. She's in dignity. Yes. So I would take this as like a tertiary yes to our question. Well, is there a partner in the future? Yes, there is.
Okay.
Um, because she is happy and she is exalted. And one thing one also has to remember is that the moon she's the initiator of things usually. So, for example, if you ever choose to start a business, or you ever choose to start a new project or buy a new house or something like that, it would be advised that you put the moon in a positive house, or where she has either rulership or exaltation, because then she because she's the initiator, if she is happy, then she will help us to manifest whatever it is that we want in a positive way. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
So the only thing that is a little bit concerning to me is regarding the moon's position, is that she is in the 29th degree of Cancer. Now, for you, as someone who doesn't understand what that means, is there is only 30 degrees within a sign, and she is in the last degree of the sign. So she only has 1 degree left, then she exits the sign. Now, what that usually means is that the person, the moon, is like an elderly lady. She's like on death's doorstep, basically. So she is about to exit and then be reborn in a new sign. So that's usually not a too great thing, because it means that her power actually lies in the sign that is ahead of her and not in the sign that she's currently situated in, which is her own sign.
Okay.
So that's not too great, but she is still in her sign, so I would take that as a yes. But I almost want to say that it's almost like as if she can say yes, but. So
Yeah.
So she's look, if she transits into Leo, which is the next sign, she will have reception with the sun, which is good, because that means that she will be in the sign where the sun has rulership. So it's like she's visiting his castle and she will be there in his honor, basically. So it's not a bad thing. At least it's not that she's transiting into a bad sign where she is in detriment, for example, like in Scorpio or Capricorn. So that's at
Okay.
least a semi sigh of relief in a way,
Okay.
because she's not going to be too
Yeah.
unhappy. She is, however, going to be in a square with the sun, which is not too great. So it might be that there's a little bit of conflict between her and the sun. So it's like as if the sun is saying yes and she's now saying yes, and then, but it's almost like as if she's going to change her mind type of thing, where she's going to go like yes, but, and then maybe say there's some terms and conditions to this relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so, and
Yeah.
once again, she will be transiting into a fire sign. Now, fire in itself says a lot of things. It's somewhat a bit of explosive like Aries, so it's a bit of a warm, heated relationship. So it could be that there's a lot of passion in the relationship. So
Mm-hmm.
just keep that in mind. Um, she is also trining Jupiter. So that's another good thing for us, because a trine is usually a very easy flow of energy, and it means that it's beneficial and that it will be good, and that good will come from it. So um, she she is also in reception with Jupiter, which means that she is in his sign of exaltation, which means that once again Jupiter becomes the honorary guest in her house. So it means that they have a beautiful relationship with one another. There's a good friendship. So this is good for you and this person, because it means that there will be a good friendship between the two of you. Okay.
Yeah.
So, and it is in water signs. So that means that there will definitely be a spiritual connection. So
Right.
it could be
Right.
like a soulmate connection, because once again the moon is um, also trining Neptune, and Neptune is a very spiritual sign. And they usually say when Neptune is part of the equation that it becomes like a soulmate type of connection.
Mm.
Okay,
Okay.
and then to reconfirm that, and as a secondary confirmation that it will be a soulmate connection, the north node, which I said is your life purpose, and it could be your soul as well, represent the north node could represent your soul and your life purpose, and it is sextiling Neptune and Jupiter. So once again, it's like almost giving us a secondary confirmation that this will be
Correct.
like a
It,
soulmate
yeah.
connection. Okay. So then we look at the moon, and she is opposed by Pluto. So Pluto is the planet of transformation and regeneration, and um, he it could be that this person, once they enter into your life, that it could transform your life dramatically. Okay, so
Mm-hmm.
it could be that this relationship changes you in a dramatic way, and that could be for good or for bad. It just depends, because opposition aspects are sometimes very challenging, and they can be somewhat difficult. And now we have another situation where Pluto is in Capricorn, and this is a sign where the moon has her debilitation. So she's receiving, she's not receiving him, but he's in a sign where she's not very happy. So this is like she's opposed by him. So it could be that there might be some upheaval when it comes to the transformation of your life by this person could be somewhat challenging at times. So you might want to just keep in mind that you asked for this person, you've wanted this person in your life, and there might be some things that you might need to adapt to or change to accommodate this person as being part of your life. So mentally prepare yourself now, because remember, you are also a Taurus, and Taurus are very slow to change. They don't like change a lot.
Yeah.
So do you agree with me?
Yes.
Okay. So maybe just make a mental note of that you might need to make some changes to accommodate this person. It might not be easy changes, but it might be changes that need to happen for you to get some transformation, which ultimately could lead to a good transformation for you. Okay.
Yeah.
Then, I don't know anything about you. I just want to say in advance that you know that this was an absolutely short minute, last minute notice of the session.
Yes, exactly.
So I had absolutely no way of actually preparing for this session.
No.
Because I was literally in the bank till like 20 minutes before the session
Yes, I remember.
started.
Yes. Yeah, wow.
Yeah, so I just wanted to put that on record so that the listener can understand that I haven't had time to prepare for this session, so everything I'm doing is cold. And
Exactly.
I asked your birth date now, and then you gave it to me, and we're doing it off the cuff. We're flying it by wing.
Yes.
We're winging it.
Right. Yes.
Okay, so
For sure.
then, what was I gonna say next? Sorry, just give me a second. Let me just get my gears back into order. Oh, so what I wanted to ask you is, let me quickly have a look at your chart before I ask you the question. The reason why I asked, or why I stated that I had no time to prepare, was that I don't know anything about you, correct?
Correct.
We have had no discussion other than the discussion that you would like to make a booking and that this is your question.
That was it, yes.
Okay.
Yes, exactly.
So, and I don't know anything about you, so I don't know if you have a career, and I want to ask, do you work, and do you work for yourself by any chance?
I work for a cruise line. I work at sea, so I work in guest services. I work on a cruise ship. That's why when you said about to make sure that you have enough for when you don't work, it's for the 2 months that I'm normally at home. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So that's interesting.
I would get an income, and then for 2 or 3 months, I would not get an income because I'll be at home basically, not at work.
That's very interesting. It now basically, actually, if you think about it, it actually kind of gives us a second confirmation, in the sense of, do you remember I said that you might meet this person in your environment?
Yes, exactly.
So,
I picked it up. I also thought of that. Yes.
so you could possibly meet this person on the cruise ship. It could, or you could meet them wherever you stop, when you stop at the cruise ship by a certain country.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's actually quite interesting, because it's I always call these things, I love doing horary questions, because the horary question often tells us more than what we actually asked for. and it kind of gives us confirmation in ways that we didn't expect.
Right. Exactly. True.
And I mean, this is such a clear example of that I didn't know that you work on a cruise ship, and I said that you might meet this person in your environment or in your neighborhood, and obviously if you live on a cruise ship, then your neighborhood is the cruise ship, and and then obviously the space where the country where the ship docks, that will then become your neighborhood. So then obviously you could meet the person while you are docking at the nearest harbor or whatever.
Oh, exactly.
Okay.
Yes, very true. Interesting.
Okay. So I'll come back to your chart now. I just give me a second. I just want to check something for us. Okay. I do want to mention something that I noticed. Now, this has nothing to do with astrology, but it does have to do with numerology. And I don't know if you saw by my channel name that I also do numerology.
Correct.
My YouTube channel.
Yeah.
So it is YouTube.
Yeah.
The YouTube channel's name is Archangel Astrology Numerology.
Yeah.
Okay. So from a numerology point of view, you do have a 8. Now, it's very complicated how it's calculated, and I'm not even going to try and explain it because it's not going to make sense when I have to explain numbers in the air and how they are calculated. So I'm just going to give it to you so that you know about it. The 8 is in a position where when you do have an 8 in the position where you do have it, it can cause issues with and difficulties with relationships. So, I don't know if you've ever had a relationship or if this will be your first relationship or if you've had prior relationships, because we haven't discussed that, but it does cause difficulties with relationships, especially romantic relationships. So it could make romantic relationships somewhat be very heavy and sometimes be very difficult to handle. So would you say that that is accurate for you?
Yes, okay. Very much so.
Okay.
Very much
so. Then I want to say something which I also don't know this about you, so I'm merely interpreting what I see in the numbers. There's a number which is also an 8, but it's in a different location. And this number indicates to me that financially you can do very well at times and then at other times not so well. So it's almost like as if you can be a millionaire at times and then lose money at times. So has that happened, or does that resonate with you?
Yeah, it does happen where I was doing very well and then at times that I was not doing as well. Exactly. Yes.
Okay. So this once again confirms to us that you would need to make provisions for the times where things aren't as great as you would hope.
Yeah.
And then you also have it's so interesting for me when I now look at this because it's like and this is obvious that it would be like this, but it always makes me smile when I see this is when the numerology and the astrology talk to one another and they confirming back and forth
correct. Yes, exactly
what the other one is saying. So now what's
Yeah.
interesting is that you are a Taurus. You also have Venus in Taurus, which is a beautiful placement because she is in dignity there. She is like a queen in her own castle.
Mm-hmm.
And then Taurus rules money and Taurus rules wealth. So this is a good thing. So we are happy to see that. And now we have these two eights, and eights also in numerology represent money and wealth. So
Okay.
we have confirmation from both sides that
Right.
money is
Yeah.
something that is important to you, and money is something that your life kind of revolves around it, and beauty and pleasure is definitely part of the spectrum.
Yes.
Would you
Yes.
say? Okay, good. So now I want to ask something. What is it that you do on the cruise ship?
I work with guests. I work in guest services. So I deal with all the inquiries, money, complaints, stuff like that.
Okay, so that's interesting because now I've told you that money is important to you, and because
Yeah.
you work on a cruise ship, which is considered a luxury, um,
Right.
and
Correct.
Taurus rules luxury, and Taurus rules anything that is luxurious. So we have like another confirmation of that, and that, um, and then once again, if you work with um, the client's
The public.
money,
Yeah.
then
Mm.
once again, that's a Taurus quality. So,
Mm-hmm. Yes.
and then, um, okay, so before I go off in a complete tangent and we go completely into the numerology, let's rather go back to the Horary chart, and then we take it from there, because
Okay.
I just wanted to mention to you about the money. I saw that money number and I saw the eight in the difficulties with the relationship. So that's actually the only reason why I wanted to go to the numerology part of the reading.
Okay.
So now I just want to check something. So please just give me a second.
Sure.
So um, from a look, one shouldn't necessarily do a horary question like this, or in this way. And what I mean by that is try and analyze who the person is based on the horary question that you draw up the chart for. So, in that regard, it might be inaccurate, some of the things, because I'm actually doing something that I've never done before. Because what you actually do with a horary chart is you just want yes or no. That's all you want in a horary chart. But I find that it intuitively I've been guided almost to analyze the chart as if this person the chart that I'm looking at is qualities of the person that you'll meet. So normally, I don't know if that is acceptable, but because I was kind of led by my intuition, I kind of just went with the flow, and I didn't cause too much pushback in that regard. But there is something that's interesting. I suspect that from a career point of view, and I'm not sure how this would fit in because I mentioned earlier that the person might be a diplomat or something like that, or something that, or be in a position where it requires them to travel. Now, when we look at the 10th house, which is the career, it is ruled by Sagittarius, and we said that that is international travel. It is a diplomat. It is something like a jet-setting lifestyle, almost in a sense. And it could also be that this person is very into philosophy, and that they are very philosophy orientated, and that they could be extremely wise, and that they could also be like a type of a teacher in a way. So it could be, I almost want to say maybe like a life coach or something, or I don't know what careers would require wisdom and teaching that is not a teacher, like a school teacher. So, or maybe like a university lecturer or something, because you might, I know some people teach in foreign countries university lectures and whatever. So it might be that this person is like a tertiary education field or career in. But yeah. Then let's move on to the next house. Let's see. In the person's, we have now, sorry, I'm like interrupting my own train of thought here, but what's interesting is we have three what's interesting is we have three planets situated in the 12th house in this chart. Now, this is interesting and weird, and I'm not exactly sure how to interpret this, but we have Venus. Venus is exalted in Pisces because she's sitting in sign Pisces, where she is exalted. She's an honorary guest. So that's a positive thing, and I'm really happy about that, because that's like I don't even know what you call something after it's like a tertiary acknowledgement or a tertiary yes. So I don't know, what do you call something when it's the fourth yes in a row that you now because I think we have 1, 2, 3. Yeah, so we have 4 yeses already. She would be the fourth one. So Venus rules your love life. She rules lust. She rules sexuality. She rules sex. So it means that all these things will be good, and that they will all be very fulfilling and very loving and very good for your soul and your spirit. Now, what is interesting though, or what is weird, and why I said I don't really know how to interpret this, is that it is in the 12th house. Now, the 12th house is considered to be a malefic house. It's a bad house. It's a house that is not associated with anything good. Now, so I'm not entirely sure how to interpret this, other than that it might be that this person either invokes in you, or that you invoke it in each other, or that this person by themselves have sexual fetishes or sexual desires that are hidden, because the 12th house is things that are hidden. And so it might be that they invoke hidden sexual desires within you, or you in them, or you in one another, or it might be that it's just them that have a bit of a quirky side, that
Yeah.
they might have a bit of a different approach to love making or to love. And another thing is that the 12th house is also the unconscious mind. It's also the subconscious mind, the psychology. So it might be
Uh-huh.
that they. Sorry, are you still there?
I'm here.
Oh, okay. No, it's just that my phone is saying that it's too hot. Um, so it's saying close multi-window mode. So I'm not sure what multi-window mode it's referring to because I'm just in a WhatsApp call. But yeah, so anyway.
There
Okay.
you go.
Yeah, so I don't know, but let's see how it goes. If it shuts down or something, I will call you back from another number.
Yeah, no, it's fine. Yeah,
Um,
no worries.
then, okay, so I can't believe we've already been busy for an hour.
I know.
That's probably why it's overheating.
Yeah,
not
maybe.
not used to doing a consultation session
Oh,
via
yeah.
a
Oh, yeah,
WhatsApp via a
yeah.
WhatsApp call.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so it might be that this person then evokes some subconscious sexual desires within you, or you in them, or things that are not the norm, if we can call it that. And then
Right.
there
Okay,
is
interesting.
Mars is also in the 12th house. Mars rules also sexual energy, but of a very raw nature. And what I mean by that is, I often, when I think of gay relationships, I often think of it as, yes, there is love, but I know that the gay community is also very into hookups and, like sex for the sake of sex and not necessarily for the sake of love. So, and that is a very basic and primal instinct and a basic animal nature, is to have sex for the fact of having sex and pleasure and nothing else. Now, I often associate Mars with that type of energy, that it's a like when people have sex with a Mars energy, it is sex to have sex. It's not sex that's connected to love, like Venus is connected to love. So once again, it's in the 12th house, so it once again confirms this subconscious sexual desires and energy, or things that might be a turn on. And then why I said the quirkiness and the weirdness regarding the sex is because we have Mars and Saturn in the 12th in Aquarius. So now Aquarius is known for being weird and quirky. Like I'm an Aquarius, so that's why I can understand and I can really speak from first-hand experience that sometimes Aquariuses do have weird and quirky natures in every regard, not necessarily just in a sexual regard, but in their approach and their ways of doing things might be very different compared to other people and what is considered to be the norm. So we have these three planets sitting in the subconscious mind in the way, and two of them represent sexual energy. So it just basically says that, once again, that the energy might be what you learn about this person in a sexual regard in their subconscious mind might be different and weird to what you are used to. So maybe just keep that at the back of your mind when you do meet them, that this could be a possibility, and that when they do tell you that they like sucking your small toe while having an orgasm, that you don't freak out too
Understood.
much.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
You know, or if
Understood. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, so
Yeah.
don't freak out too much and don't be too shocked, because you are forewarned. So
Okay.
I kind of handle it with a I don't want to say with a poker face, but kind of say like, okay, cool, like, and
Yeah.
you know,
Let it flow
don't
with it. Yeah.
keep in mind that it might be, or they um look, if we really want to analyze it to death, and we shouldn't do this, but if just for entertainment's sake, I can do it, just so that it's interesting for you as well. Sorry, I don't know. My recorder looks like it stopped, and then so I'm not sure if it stopped now, and I don't want to go back. Or let me just pause it for a second. Just give me a second. Okay, no, it was just because we kept quiet that it looked like it stopped, and then but it wasn't.
Okay.
Okay, so um, so Venus we said is luxury, so it might be that this person has a food fetish, not foot as in your feet, food as in what you eat.
Correct.
So it could be that they enjoy maybe like strawberries and chocolate and eating it off you or something like that, or
I was
like
thinking the same thing actually when you said that.
yeah, like, or they could enjoy
Uh,
maybe
yeah, I understand. Yeah.
yeah, having sex with a pawpaw, something weird. And then
Yeah.
Mars is has to do with the blood and with cutting. So I'm not exactly sure how that could manifest in a sexual way, but maybe they might be into some BDSM. So because
Okay.
obviously um, BDSM can sometimes be, I don't want to say bloody, but I guess if you hit someone hard enough, it could be bloody. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
so, and then Saturn is restrictions, but Saturn also rules condoms. Now, I kind of want to say this just as a little bit of a warning. I don't want to alarm you, but just for something to keep in mind is that when we have Saturn and Mars conjunct one another in a sign, it's not necessarily in all signs, and it's usually in the fifth house. So when you have Mars in the fifth, or Saturn in the fifth, or when you have the combination of the two in the fifth, in this case, it's not in the fifth; it's in the 12th. But I'm I don't know how else to interpret this other than what I'm about to say,
Okay.
and that is that before you maybe start having sex without a condom, maybe with this person, just go for tests. So, like HIV test
Yeah.
or STD tests or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
And because Mars and Saturn usually in the fifth, or one of these signs in the fifth, um, sometimes indicate like HIV or one or other
Okay.
deadly disease, because both these planets are malefics, and both of them are very dangerous when it comes to certain things, especially regarding sexual diseases. Now,
Okay.
Saturn is in his own sign, so he's in Aquarius, so he shouldn't be too malefic because he is also in the 12th house where he has dignity. So he has like double dignity. So he's like, so it's almost giving us I think we are now on number 5, right? Of a
Yeah.
yes.
Yes.
So,
Yes. Yes. Yes.
so we now have 5 planets saying, yes, there is a potential partner in your near future. So because he is in a positive house, he is in his own sign, so he's on relatively good behavior. He is, however, conjunct Mars, which is not a good thing. So that might be the only drawback for us. But he is still saying yes. Mars might be saying, mm, I'm on the bar because or on the wire because Mars isn't he's peregrine, so he's not in his own sign and he's not in a sign of stability or anything. So he's like in between. He doesn't care. He's not
Yeah.
unhappy and he's not happy. So he's semi-neutral. So so just keep that in mind that and maybe have that discussion in the beginning of the relationship to clarify whether there is any history of STDs or
Always.
HIV
Yeah.
or being undetectable or anything like that, because that is also what this 12th house could signify, is that there is hidden diseases, because it could be that
Yes.
this person was exposed, and it could be that they even exposed just before they met you and they actually don't even know that they're sick, you know? And I'm not saying
Yes.
this is the case, and I'm not saying that this will be so. I'm just saying that I'm interpreting what I'm seeing,
Be mindful. Yeah.
and I'm just giving you all the facts that I can possibly think of, so
Yes.
that if I do end up missing something in the long run, it was never intentional. It was, I didn't
Oh.
see it at that point in time when we're doing the consultation.
Yeah.
So I rather warn you about everything, whether it's good or bad, and you can, if it does happen, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But at least
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. Yeah. The full picture.
Yeah. So I think that is pretty much it, because we've now gone full circle. We started at the
Yeah.
first house and we've come to the 12th house, which is the last house, before we're back at the first house. And yes, I think that is it. So,
Amazing.
so do you have any thoughts?
I think that was very intuitive and very informative. And a lot of things that you said, actually, like I said, was very straight on to the point. Actually, you didn't, like I say, you didn't know much about me before, and a lot of it was very correctly pointed out. Actually, in the picture as a whole, so it was very, very well said and very detailed. Also, I must admit, honestly, it was very informative. Thank you.
It is a very big pleasure, and I really love doing horary charts because they often give us so much information without knowing zero about the person
Yeah,
actually asking the
exactly,
question.
exactly. Yeah, it was very interesting actually that you had all that details without knowing it. Actually, it was funny. It was crazy.
So yeah.
Good.
So I don't know. You are welcome to tell me if you want to. We can, um, if you are done and you have what you want, we can end the session now. Or if you want to, we can continue for another hour, and then if you can, you can do another 650 payment for me.
Okay.
So it's up to you. So as I say, we can either end the session here or we can continue, because I haven't done your chart for you so far. We can have a look at that, and then we can continue with the numerology as well, which I haven't had a real chance to look at.
All right. We'll have a look, and then I will let you know. But maybe also just to look at my career, maybe. But I'll let you know about it as well, because I'm not sure if I'm going to change companies or not. Cruise
Okay.
line companies, maybe go to river cruising, or if I'm possibly going to go and work in the US, maybe. I don't
Okay.
know.
Well, that could be another question that we could address via Horary. So whether you should or shouldn't. So
Okay.
so you can
Okay.
so don't ask the question now, because we don't.
No.
But or you can ask the question now, but then maybe just send it to me via WhatsApp immediately after we end the
Yes.
call, so that we have the date and time, and then you can say to me what it is exactly
Right.
what you want to know. So
Cool.
the question will probably phrase something like, should you change companies or not? So
Yes.
always try
Exactly.
and ask the question in a way that it's a yes or no answer.
Right. Correct.
Okay.
Okay. Cool. Will do.
Okay.
Awesome. Thank you for the chat and for the information. I really appreciate it. It was really informative. I loved it.
It's a big, big pleasure, and I'm glad to have met you. Thank you for the session, and I
And you
really
as well.
appreciate that I can help you and guide you.
Awesome. Thank you very much. We'll do it again.
Thank you so much.
Awesome.
Have a good
Thank
day.
you.
Thank you.
You too. Take care. Bye.
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 Good day. Welcome back to my channel. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe. If you would like to book a consultation or attend a workshop, please go to my website, which will be in the banner above.